You're listening to Infinite TBR, the podcast where we try not to buy more books. I'm Smack.
And I'm Gabi. Spoiler alert! We're going to avoid major spoilers, and when we can, warn when we're going to discuss a particular book in detail so you can avoid that part of the episode. You can also check the show notes for time-stamped flags identifying potential spoilers.
Mostly I just loved The Maleficent 7.
I don't know that I've read anything I feel that strongly about this month. I feel really strongly about the Adorable Dragon and Tide song by Wendy Xu.
That you sent a bunch
That's all I
of
got.
pictures of.
I read the Wild Robot sequel.
Right.
Just as adorable.
Good.
Still excellent. That's by Peter Brown. The Wild Robot Escapes. I finally...
Oh man, he escaped.
She escaped.
Pardon me!
And then I finally jumped on the Witcher train and read The Last
did you?
Wish. I did, yes.
Was it good?
It was both what I expected and not what I expected. It was more fairy tale retellings than I expected.
Really?
Yeah. And if someone had said that going in, I would have
Read it much earlier.
read it much sooner. It was very tiring whenever anyone female came on the page because without fail, they'd be sexualized in some way.
Of course they would.
And
When was it published? Do you know?
originally, 2003?
Okay. So in a less enlightened era,
Yes.
but still.
But my little brother's reading his 1993.
Oh wow.
Really another era.
Yeah.
So there's that to take into account, I will say. But my little brother does say that he's reading his more recent trilogy now, of which I think only 2 are out, and he says it's pretty much, that's a consistent
Really?
thing. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it gets much better.
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I think, yeah, it's just...
Okay, so I will probably skip those and just watch the show at some point.
Yes, my understanding is that the show is much better and very different.
Okay.
Also, I think women were involved in the writing of the show, so
Okay.
there's that.
I read a fascinating thing about the costume design, because apparently the 2 main guys, whose name I don't know either of their names, but they
Geralt and Dandelion.
And Dandelion?
I don't know if that's the guy you're thinking of. Those are the 2 guys I know about.
But, there's the Dark Witcher dude, who is played by Superman, and then there's, the bard.
Yeah.
But, apparently, they are the exact same height and the exact same build. and I just read this fascinating essay. It must have been, a Tumblr post or something through that newsletter we're on.
Right.
But, just detailing not how generally to make someone look different, but how specifically the costume designers made the Witcher guy look big and built and broad, and made the bard guy look very slender and narrow and stuff.
Jaskier.
That one. Whatever his name is. Jaskier. Jaskier?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Anyway.
It's Polish.
I will try to link that in the show notes because it was so interesting.
Sounds really interesting.
And it was all this very detailed work stuff where sometimes you can hide the width of somebody's shoulders in the little corner bits that curl up.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's got kind of puffy shoulders and you can hide some of his breadth in that. I just love that stuff. It's so funny. And I guess it's a recent thing that people are oh my god, they're the same height and everything.
I could see. Do you know anything about these characters?
Nope.
Okay, well.
I know one of them is bard-ish.
Yes.
And I know that the Witcher dude is very
I'm pretty sure their vibe is Bard follows the Witcher around.
That's my impression.
Strumming his
Yes.
lute.
Yeah.
And in the book, they're kind of long-standing friends.
Oh, really?
And their dynamic is interesting because the Bard is just very footloose, fancy-free.
That's the impression I have
kind
gotten.
of waltzing around. The Witcher's
probably
basically
high half the time.
Almost like a puppy dog, has to keep pulling him out of trouble and
Okay.
taking care of the trouble he starts. My impression from the show up until this point, which I haven't seen, so I should say that, is that he's just following the Witcher around.
Yeah.
And the Witcher's stop following me! But really, they're best friends and they love each other.
In the books, they are?
In the books, they're best friends. Like,
That's-
kind of. Like they're it's complicated
okay.
because the Witcher has to... His whole thing is that he travels from town to town and...
Killing monsters, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's this interesting balance because... So Witchers were really important back when there were fewer humans and they
And
were
more
expanding
monsters.
and more monsters.
Okay.
And now there are far fewer monsters, and also the ones that are left, the humans have learned to deal with and work
Right.
around, and they don't necessarily want to murder them.
Right.
But that's what Witchers are trained to do. Like,
So he just
basically bred
murders
to do
monsters
almost.
anyway?
Well, he goes from town to town and he's like, does anyone have a problem that they will pay me to address, basically. And sometimes there's a curse, and sometimes there's someone who, like, wants to use him for something, and he's like, that's not what Witchers do. I don't know how many times I have to explain this. Like, he gets pulled into political shenanigans, and
Yeah.
at some point, everything... You'll, like, eventually has, like, a fairy tale parallel, and that's the kind of stuff I live for. So if you take away the crap with the female characters, it's awesome. And it got more and more interesting as they went on. And now I'm like...
Is it worth it?
I don't know.
God, that sounds awful.
It's one of those ones where I couldn't read a bunch of them at once.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely like, this is a timeout. Like, I'll read one, and then he goes and times out. I should say that the first Witcher book, kind of, is The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski.
Okay.
And
The spelling will be in the show notes.
yeah, and everyone's heard about this at this point. But it's kind of like a series of shorts.
Okay.
So you get, like, him in different places solving different problems.
Super episodic.
Kind of, yes.
Kind of, sort of.
There's also an overarching.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. And I think that the next book is the first book. Like, the real first book.
Okay.
Maybe? Like, it started as a bunch of short stories, and... Oh, I guess there's another short story collection. And then there's a first actual novel.
That's very interesting.
So there was a lot about it. Like, I see why.
Okay.
I just wish it were better. But hopefully that's what the show will
very
be.
diplomatic.
So I'm not
of you.
sure.
Right.
Like, I mean, Joe owns them all, so it's not
So
like I
it's
have
not
to
a
work that
big
hard to,
deal,
like,
yeah.
yeah. So I'll just, like, get to them when I'm like, okay, I can put up with this for another 300 pages. And
Oh
then,
my god.
And then it'll go back in time out, and it'll be like, why did I put myself through this?
That doesn't sound like it's worth it.
Hmm,
I'm just gonna watch the TV show.
sounds good.
I made a list. I know I told you this earlier, but I made a list when I was at my most exhausted in January. And I wrote down all the movies and
also when I
shows
make
I
my
wanted to
list.
watch, and all the books I'm going to read next. And I don't know how much I'm going to keep to any of it, but it was very helpful at the time.
Yes, it's always nice to make lists, even if you're not going to stick to them.
Of things to look forward to. February is not going to be anywhere near as bad, but everything,
yeah, it should be better for both of us.
everything feels exhausting at this point.
I read Never Have I Ever, which I did
Oh,
really
yeah.
like. That was really good. Very
I'm
different.
glad. Another Clarion one.
A really good recovery book from that
Good.
crowd.
I'm so glad.
The one with the witch and the
Elemental
was
so cute. I love that collection because it starts so dark
It does.
and so weird.
Yep.
And then the range of stories is one of the widest I've ever read.
Did I
in
say
a
this
collection.
is by Isabel Yap? This is by Isabel Yap, in
Yes.
case I haven't said that.
She's delightful.
But yes, the range was insane.
It was
Everyone was very
phenomenal.
good.
Yeah.
But I definitely
I thought you
like,
meant every character, and I was like,
No,
which one did you read?
We read very different books. No, every story was written very well.
Yeah. There were no, like,
There were
weak
no-
stories,
nope.
which is
It
just
was all
fantastic.
just so good. They were all very different, and I remember, like, the first three had, like, were either dark
Or, like, dark adjacent.
Yes. And then I got to the one with the witch and the elemental, and I kept waiting for it to take the dark turn,
And it didn't.
and it never did.
I did read that one twice. That was so sweet.
And then there was one with, like, a dragon and a princess, like that motif.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that one,
was a good one,
It
too.
was so good.
Yeah. I read that one a while ago, but it definitely sticks with you.
I would reread that one, for
Absolutely.
sure, many times.
Yep.
And then I finally read A Psalm of Storms and Silence.
Which is the sequel to...
A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne Brown.
This is maybe an unfair question, but I was wondering earlier. Is there any singing in those books?
No. So, technically, I don't remember about the first one. I don't think so. In the second one, technically, I think I explained this to you. Where are the other readers out there?
Our listeners.
Listeners.
There we go.
Who are going to be, I guess either way. I guess you don't have to read it to, anyway.
Okay.
In the first book, the whole plot revolves around, well, there's a lot going on, but one of the plot points is that there is this ritual to resurrect a person.
And you sing that one?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This is one where I don't think any singing is involved.
Oh, okay.
There are 4 steps to it. Either was, I don't know. It's been long enough that maybe they did sing over the body.
I will certainly be looking for it.
Yes,
when I
let me
read
know
it.
if you spot a song in there. There are wraiths.
Okay.
And there is a lot of ruining of things.
I figured.
And then the next one, there are storms.
Okay. Storms and what's the
I
other
guess
one?
there's silence of storms. It's the Psalm of Storms and Silence. And so it's a 4-part ritual in the first book, and then in this, I told you in the sequel, one of the things that I felt was a weakness was she mirrored the structure again, and now there's another ritual to fix all the problems caused by the first ritual. Like they're kind of a pair, a companion ritual, and that's also a 4-part, and that involves doing a little psalm over a body of water.
Okay.
Technically. Like, there are no words to this psalm that she does. There's, like, a passage where she's, like, does the...
Okay.
Oh, I guess she does kind of do the prayer out loud, but I don't think she sings it.
Yeah, I was just wondering.
Anyway. Nope. You can keep an eye out. But. So, we're having maybe some recording issues that hopefully were very short-lived. And...
Like, under 4 minutes, hopefully.
Yes, which are now gone. Unless it was sneakily doing it the whole time. It doesn't seem to be doing it now.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, so, as I was saying...
Pontificating. I don't know where that came from.
No, I was pontificating on Green Creek.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was a pontification.
Just a brief wrap-up of A Psalm of Storms and Silence. I was hoping it would get better. It didn't. Not for me, anyway. The main characters were in their heads a lot, hated themselves too much, very emotionally exhausting. The relationship between Malik and the big bad evil serpent from the first book did proceed, like...
Did they become besties?
They became besties, but not... Their relationship is weird because the book starts with this tension that they have because, like... But it's like there's so much going on that usually he's just kind of... He doesn't come up until he comes up.
Oh.
And then he's there to serve a purpose for 2 seconds.
He's gone.
And then he's gone.
That's disappointing.
And, like, they'll maybe, like, throw in a line in his head somewhere. And then, like, okay, he said something in this scene. But they could have done so much with their relationship.
Missed opportunity.
Like, they did go in the direction I wanted it to go in, but it could have done more. Way more.
Didn't meet your expectations. Do you know what I just read?
Then you stop having expectations. Just none.
I just finished another book called Pawn by Karen Lynch.
Yay!
Where her best friend is not just a prop.
Yes.
Which happens way less than I would prefer it to.
Right? You don't notice it until...
Yeah.
You get it, and then you're
that
like,
was one of my major critiques of, what was that Naomi Novik one?
Uprooted?
Yeah, Uprooted.
Or Spinning Silver?
Uprooted.
Okay. I don't even remember her having any friends.
The whole premise of the book is that her best friend gets taken into the evil wood, and she has to go rescue her. That's not the whole premise of the book.
Okay, I was gonna say, is it? I don't remember
the premise of the book. The premise of the book is that she gets, like, chosen to go to the evil dragon magician's lair, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't know why. But shortly after that happens, her friend gets dragged into the evil wood, and the main character leaves the scary dragon magician guy and goes off into the woods to rescue her friend from the woods from which no one has ever returned.
I couldn't remember why she went into the woods.
Because she had to go save her best friend. She thought her best friend was going to be the one to be stolen off to the magician's
Right.
place. And then that her friend had dodged a bullet, and then she didn't dodge that other
Right.
bullet. But anyway, by the end, like, the friend starts out as, like, part of the framework of the story, and is therefore very much her own character, but by the end, she's basically a prop.
Bummer.
The BFF prop.
The BFF prop.
Anyway, Pawn.
Pawn.
P-A-W-N,
Yes.
not P-O-N, which is what my brain goes to.
Even though it's not a word.
Yeah, it's a last name.
Well, yeah. It's
Cindy
last
Pawn.
name. Yeah.
That's where I go
Yeah,
to. Cindy
okay,
Pawn is an
gotcha,
author.
gotcha.
Read her books. But Pawn, it's like upper YA, where the main character is, she's 18, and she lives in a world where you're like you haven't read this. But it's been a while.
No, I know. I was
Okay.
like, I have read it.
Okay.
And it's been a while. This is one of my books
Yes.
that Smack has borrowed. And
For
I have
a long
read it.
time, it just sat with
It
the
was a
other books.
Present from our Laura. The original Laura. The college Laura.
The Santa Barbara Laura. Okay.
I really can't say our Laura. we actually have too many.
Too many mutual friends named Laura.
Like every Laura is now our Laura.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a Laura now that's just mine.
We have Hank's person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Hank
you,
is
though.
a dog. Yes.
So-
His person
Yes,
is named
that
Laura.
clears that up. Hank is a dog.
Hank is
That
a dog.
explains all of the
Laura
rest.
is his person. Okay.
Anyway.
So I read a book.
You read a book
P-A-W-N.
that I read
sequel
first.
is called Knight, and the third one's called like
Yes.
Queen or something. The
Yeah,
third one
as in
will
the
be out.
chess pieces,
Yeah.
Pawn, Knight, and Queen. Okay.
Right. Anyway, the last book is going to be out like mid to late February, and I've had the first one for months at the very least. And finally, Gabi was like, "Can I have it back?"
Which
And
I've never done before.
Which she's never done before, and I was like, "Oh shit! Yes, you can have it back, but I'm going to read it, and you have to give me the second one when I give you the first one." That's our deal.
Because I need to reread it, because obviously I've forgotten everything that happened.
Because I've had it forever.
And I have the memory of a goldfish. So,
Yes.
now that all three are going to be out, I can reread.
Yeah.
I haven't read Night at all yet, but
I'll get
I
to
was
it quick.
told not to.
Oh,
I'm
right.
told the
You were
third one
told
was
there
out.
was like a cliffhanger, right?
I don't know if it's a cliffhanger or just...
Not a
No,
great resolution.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was pleasantly surprised by both the ending and just the book in general. Like, I didn't have high expectations for it.
Nope. But it's really
Because
good.
it's a book that has been told a bunch before. It's
The
like
premise sounds very predictable.
it's this
basic.
girl. She's 18. She lives in a world where fairies are known. There was this thing called the Rift 30 years ago, and her parents are well-respected bounty hunters, and they go missing one night. They don't come home.
Dad's going on a hunting.
It's basically Supernatural with a girl and with a very deliberately feminist bent.
The funniest part about this is we had this conversation during that
Multiple times.
and she said Dad's gone on a hunting trip, and I had no idea what she was talking about. I saw like one season of Supernatural.
It's like the probably the most quoted line from Supernatural is from like the pilot, where one of them goes to the other brother and he goes, "Dad's been on a hunting trip, wink wink, and hasn't been home in a few days." And I said it without like the very obvious air quotes, and Gabi has never looked so confused.
I thought it was like some well-known fantasy trope that I just somehow completely missed. And I was like, I don't think I've ever encountered that trope before. I just don't
Because it's so overdone that no one
notices it.
would dare.
Oh,
Anyone who's ever seen Supernatural is going to be like, "Yup, that's been done before." But Karen Lynch dared and pulled it off, I would say.
Yay! Especially if you haven't seen much
I know. There was this one line, like I didn't even put it together at first, because it's been maybe like 8 years since I've seen Supernatural. It's been a long time since I watched that show. And like I didn't put together the missing bounty hunter parents at first. And then there was this line at the beginning-ish of the book, and I was like, it's like Supernatural. And then there was another line in the middle, and I was like, she's a female. Her parents haven't been home in a few days. They went on a hunting trip and haven't been home in a few days. What? How did I is this? So it was a whole like lengthy realization that culminated in this hysterical search for a GIF, and Gabi didn't get any of it.
I failed as a best friend.
Oh my god! But anyway,
it's good.
It is good. I really enjoyed it. There was a little bit of that like Twilight Edward thing going on because the love interest is a fairy and therefore immortal, and she's 18, so she's legal. But like, it's a little weird, and like she's fairly sheltered. There's this one scene where she has to go into like a fairy bar or whatever, and she brings her best friend because her best friend has gone to like fairy sex clubs and like knows what she's doing.
Knows the rules.
Yeah. And so like
I think that's the one where she didn't make any dumb decisions. I feel like she called someone when she should call someone.
Yes, she called for backup whenever she needed it, and she had multiple. Like she had a support structure, so she could call for backup from different people, and did so throughout the book.
Yes,
that was really nice. But like, not only did she not make any bad decisions, she does like sort of like fairy Disney princess stuff, where like there's a brawl at the fairy bar and somebody's very pet rabbit got loose and is like hopping along the floor, and she dives after it and like saves it from being stepped on an ogre or something. And like,
when some unusual directions.
It's not that it's not contrived, but like it's done in such a way that I didn't care.
Yes, it's done in the way that makes me remember why I enjoyed that in the first place.
Yes. And
like, that's why is there. Yeah. Why it's been done so much is because when it's done well,
it's fun. Yeah.
It's fun.
So I have one other book to finish, but then I'm definitely going to read the sequel.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to wait, what is it, like 2 weeks?
There better be so much groveling in that book.
In the second one? There's a bit of a confrontation at the climax. And, it's the first book, so things don't go well for the love interest.
People got some groveling to do. That's all I got to say about that. And if there's not groveling, I'm going to throw the book across the room.
I'm not sure. I mean, like, it's weird because at this point, like, I trust the author to, like, make it satisfying. I never trust the author.
Right? But authors are the most untrustworthy people.
I know! We cannot be trusted. This story I was writing, I literally didn't know how to end it for 2.5 weeks.
I kept telling you how to end it.
And then I tried to do it that way, and my critique partner was like, I don't think you're earning this ending. I was like, okay, I'll go rewrite it. And then I just... Like, I write a little bit, and then I edit that, and then I go forward, and then I edit. So it's a very, like, circular process, and I don't get to the end until the end.
Right.
And I had no idea what was going to happen. It was the weirdest thing. I was just like, in 2 pages, I'm going to figure it out. It'll just come to me.
It's incredible.
It was sort of terrifying. In a very exciting way. Yeah, I did it. I got it sent out. And with any luck, I'll make $1,000 off of it.
And now it's February.
Yeah. And that first month. Ugh.
Oh, goodness, that's what we still have. Barnes & Noble had this is the last thing on our list. Barnes & Noble had what was it?
A pre-order sale.
Pre-order sale. I don't remember how much.
It was like 25%.
Yeah, it was significant.
I think it was 25%. If you pre-order a book through Barnes & Noble, you got 25% off, which meant that I went a little nuts. Not like super nuts. I had a bunch of gift cards from Christmas.
I'm glad you went more nuts than I did because I'd gone nuts in December. We went nuts in each of our respective stress months.
Yep.
So I tried
That's what it was.
to turn it into like a book of the month thing. I was like, I will find one book from every month that I really, really want and pre-order.
Oh, that's nice.
I thought that would be fun.
Yeah.
It didn't really work out.
There are...
A, because it's a lot of books.
Right. But
B,
also...
I haven't done taxes yet. B, because...
But, like, books are released in waves.
Yes.
Like, they come out seasonally.
And there were definitely, like, at least 2 months in there. But I was like, but I need
February
all 3
and
of
August
these.
were, like, easily the most common. Yeah.
So I came down to 5. I got
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Right?
it.
Right? So proud of myself. If I ignore December. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie. Oh, that's like the Spirited Away vibes, is how it's been described. Portrait of a Thief by Gracie D. Lee. That's like heists.
How could it not be?
A Taste of Golden Iron by Alexandra Rowland, who I read...
Alexandra, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that's what I said, but if I didn't, sorry. Alexandra Rowland. And I believe I read something somewhere that said she writes really great CQL fan fiction.
Oh,
so
really?
there's a non-zero chance that I read her fan fiction. There's a 99.99999% chance that Miranda has read her fan fiction and would probably know what I'm talking about and will probably text me after she listens to this episode and be like, this is the fanfic I've been telling you to read this whole time and you still haven't read it, have you? Sorry, Miranda. But I think the dynamic in that one is supposed to be very similar. It's a gay romance. It's a very, like, aloof prince, I think, and his bodyguard. I don't remember which one's aloof and which one. Anyway.
One of them's aloof.
One of them's aloof.
The other one isn't.
And one of them can, like, taste whether metal is counterfeit or not, is the weird... Anyway.
That's cool.
It seems cool and adorable. There's Dawn Hounds by Sasha Stronach.
Which apparently
Which I
is
might be
a
most-
re-release.
Is it?
Yeah, it was published multiple years ago. I want to say, I don't know, 2018, something like that. And then it was rewritten. I think the first one was self-published. But
That's-
I've read reviews that say the second version is much better.
Oh, right, he dies. Someone dies.
What?
Her. She dies.
Who?
Have you not read the synopsis?
For with Dawn Hound?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The premise is
It's been a
that
while.
this, like, disgraced cop, former thief, is murdered in the street, and it doesn't stick. And that's the hook.
Yep.
And some ancient intelligence reanimates her and sends her out to enact its monstrous designs.
Excellent.
And then I'm sure there's a found family in there somewhere.
And it's based on, like, Maori myth, right?
I have no idea. We got, and then my
I'm
last one was A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadow.
And I don't remember what that's about, but I remember being really glad you got that one so I didn't have to.
I forget to. I remember reading all these and being like, ooh, ooh, ooh. The cover's pretty.
The cover's super pretty.
Never planned to marry at all, let alone this girl. Oh, and then, like, it gets revealed that he's gay. And then
and so
they're
he
like,
marries the brother instead.
So you can marry the brother instead.
But it's like a
Sounds
super homophobic
adorable.
society or something?
Where he's coming from. The country he's coming... It's supposed to be like a
Right.
diplomatic marriage. The country he's coming from is super homophobic.
Right.
And then I think the country he's married into is like, oh, this works for us.
Okay.
We have 2 kids. One of each, so... Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And they're smart, the author.
Mm-hmm.
Smarty pants, I like them.
It's an exploration of gender identity and self-worth, and it will live in your heart long after you turn the page.
That sounds like a Gabi book.
It does sound like a Gabi book. A queer love story that is by turns sweet and sultry. Yep.
Sniff.
Check, check, check. Anyway. So yeah, so those are mine.
Mine?
See yours?
Yes, I need a list. I went a little crazy. Okay, so there's The Thousand Eyes by A.K. Larkin, which is the sequel to The Unnamed.
Unspoken
The
name.
Unspoken... What
The
is it?
Unspoken Name.
The Unspoken Name.
Which is on
was
my Smash
awesome.
shelf. Yay!
Awesome. It depends how fast you get to it, but I might need that back. And that one is an orc lady in service to a magician who's sort of sketchy, but also her father figure. It's really good. It's really good. It's so much fun. From Dust to Flame by Rebecca Podos, which oh, you know what? I know what that one is. It's this brother and sister and their mom have been, like, moving continuously their whole lives. And then the sister wakes up with weird colored eyes, and the mom is like, I know how to fix this, and goes off and doesn't come home.
She goes on a hunting trip and doesn't come back.
Exactly.
Did I do it right?
You did it right. And it's based on Jewish myth.
Cool.
Yeah. Hunt the Stars by Jessie Mihalik. I hope I'm saying that last name right. She also wrote the Polaris Rising trilogy, which was lots of fun.
Okay.
And that one already arrived. And it's the first of a trilogy where they're different main characters, so I can just read it and not worry about the rest of it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm really excited about that. Dead Collections by Isaac Feldman. which is, I think it's like one of those...
The cover's pretty.
The cover is really pretty. It's weird, but it's really pretty.
It's weird and pretty.
It's like later in life, second chance, romance, but also magic and possibly also murder. Yeah.
Wink.
Dance with the Devil by Kit Rocha is the third in their, like,
Is that going to be
silver...
a trilogy or just a series of...
I think it's a
for as long as
quartet.
they go? Oh, okay.
But it's the third in their...
Mercenary Librarian.
I think it's called the Silver Devil series. Because that's the name of the... Oh, I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah.
Whatever, the Mercenary Librarians. That's the
I thought that was
important
the name of the thing. Is
Oh,
it
I
was
don't
called
know.
the Mercenary... Okay, well...
part. I thought I knew. I don't know.
Now I don't. I know nothing. I haven't read them yet.
Heartbreaker by Sarah McLean, which is part of her Hell's Bells series.
Mhm.
I won an arc of the first one
remember.
and have not read it yet.
Oh, so you just went for it.
I went crazy with these things. I have not read most of the
Daring.
sequels that I ordered.
La la la.
Or read the first ones of the
I
sequels
used to
ordered.
be that crazy. I'm not that crazy anymore.
I am that crazy.
Well, okay, sometimes I'm that crazy. I shouldn't say that.
You will inevitably prove yourself wrong. The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton, which is the sequel to the book I'm reading right now that I've had forever because it was a library book and I got part of the way through and like life got in the way, so I started over. I got 60 pages in and life got in the way again, and then the library book was due back. And I couldn't renew it because there was a giant hold list that I had been on since August. So I went and bought a copy and ordered the sequel. But it's really cute. We're gonna have to talk about that next time.
Aren't you on your second time through?
No,
Oh.
I never finished it.
Oh, okay.
So, The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton is the sequel. The Date from Hell by Gwenda Bond is the sequel to Not Your Average Hot Guy, which is hilarious.
She was sending me and Alora of ours
I would take
screen clips.
Yes. Of this running gag where, like, the main character is talking to this demon about, like, what Hogwarts house they're in, but, like, she asks about, like, the author and if she's, you know, down there in hell with everyone, or if hell orchestrated all of the author's shenanigans, and the demon was like, whoa, no, that was not us. That was on her own recognizance.
We would never.
And there's just like this running gag.
Even
of,
we have standards.
Yeah. Of like, we love Hogwarts and Harry Potter and stuff, but don't follow her Twitter account. What else? Siren Queen by Nevo, which is not a sequel. It's a standalone, as far as I know. But it's magic and like sacrifices in the golden age of Hollywood.
Oh, that's right.
Pre-censors, pre-ratings. And so the main character is this Asian American woman who wants to be a starlet and does what she has to do to make it work. When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill, the whole premise of that is that in the 50s, half of the women in the world turned into dragons and flew away.
Dreams.
Exactly.
Why couldn't it be me?
I know. Well, apparently the main character, her mother didn't turn into a dragon, but her aunt did. And they won't, like, talk about her aunt. And, like, it's all very hush-hush.
Oh, you don't know that joke yet. Dang it.
It's okay. You'll explain it to me later.
We don't talk about Bruno. You'll all get it.
Yep.
Anyway.
I know it was in Kanto.
Halfway there. Closer than I got Supernatural.
It's okay, now you know.
Good to know.
And then Kaikei, I'm really sorry, I'm butchering that, by...
This will go flawlessly.
I know, I'm so sorry. Vaishnavi Patel. And it's one of the main character is one of the villains in the Ramayana.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is
I'm
the
really
one.
excited about this one. And then the last pre-order, was Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. And that's just like one of those fun rom-coms. I think it's the main character and her brother's best friend start texting and they don't know who the other one is. And then they start sexting and, things devolve. As it happens. Yeah. And then I did they had a buy one, get one after the pre-order. Yeah. And I was so close to, like, maintaining control and, like, not buying more books, and then I bought 2. And they are The Siren of Sussex by Mimi Matthews, which is, like, a historical romance where the main character is from, like, a fairly impoverished family. And the only thing she has to set herself apart on the marriage market or whatever is her horse riding skills. And so the whole premise is that the love interest is this half Indian dude who's, like, trying to prove himself as a tailor, I guess is the word. And so they create these amazing fashion designs, and she goes off and rides horses, and I mean, everything predictably will fall apart and come back together. It'll be great. I'm looking forward to it. The other one is The Love Con by Ceresia Glass. And that's another rom-com. I have a lot of rom-coms going at the moment.
That's because they're candy.
They are candy, and I am exhausted.
Delicious and soothing and fun
quick.
and quick. I need to go on a romance kick.
I was telling you earlier, like, I'm really into either, like, fun, light rom-com romances or gore and violence. Like, I am at both extremes at once, and I don't want anything in the middle.
Nope.
At all. So the Love Con is...
No thoughts, just vibes.
Yep, exactly. Violence or love.
Yeah.
The Love Con. That is... It's a best friends, fake dating.
Oh, yep.
There's a conference. Oh, they're cosplay... I don't know. I'm so sorry. They're cosplaying for a reality show, but, like, it's a couples reality cosplaying show, and so she enlists her best friend, and everything, again, predictably snowballs. But,
so, yeah.
Yep.
What 2022 is looking like so far. So we'll get those in the mail throughout the year.
Yeah!
There were a bunch I really wanted to pre-order and couldn't or didn't. One of them was the third Singing Hills cycle because it's coming out in hardback. But the 2 I have are in paperback.
Oh.
Like they didn't release the first 2 as hardback.
Well, they've gained traction. So
now I have to wait even longer.
Oh no!
That
one I get ebooks of.
Oh. I'll probably just get it from the library and then wait until paperback comes out. And then I wanted to pre-order... I always wanted to pre-order Queen by Karen Lynch, but it's not available for pre-order.
That's terrifying. What if I read it and need the third one? I'm just gonna have to risk it.
What do you mean?
If I read the second one, my bad. If I read Night...
Like, are you worried that it's not going to come out at all?
For, like, months.
Oh.
Yeah. If it's self-published, it's hard to tell. Because if it's self-published, like, you can release different versions at different times.
Maybe I should wait to reread the first one. Anyway, couldn't pre-order that. Tried to pre-order Furious Heaven, I think, is the name of the second Unconquerable Sun.
Oh.
By Kate Elliott. The first one is called Unconquerable Sun.
The first one's called Unconquerable Sun. It's a gender-bent Alexander the Great retelling in space.
So good. I'm not really big on space things. Or Alexander the Great. Loved this, weirdly. It's a, like, large cast. Another one of those large cast.
Have you read stuff by Kate Elliott before?
No, this was my very first Kate Elliott.
I feel like you would enjoy a lot of her stuff.
I think so, too.
She does secondary world a lot.
Yeah.
But, like, very high fantasy stuff.
Right. There's another one of hers that, like, is brand new and came out in January that I almost got. I think called The Servant's Mage. And then I found out it was weirdly short. And then I just didn't. So it was library.
Oh.
I think I also looked at Goodreads and, like, no one was raving about it. Mm-hmm. If someone were raving about it, I probably would have gone ahead and done it. But I think it was really short and it was hardback. So it was, like, expensive and short and no one was raving about it.
I wonder if it's one of those Tor.com novellas.
Oh, I don't know. So I didn't get either of those because... Well, and then Furious Heaven just wasn't available also.
Bummer.
I think there were a few other ones, but I think those were the ones that stood out because I was like, those are the ones I want the most.
Yeah. I got pretty much everything I wanted. And if I didn't get it, you pre-ordered it.
I'm glad you went first.
Buying all the books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought I had pulled it together for one order, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which I never do. And I didn't.
We had a couple stressful months. Now we will behave and put things on lists for book crawl, which is at the end of April.
Yes.
That's the next big book.
And I know I'm going to regret. I'm going to absolutely eat my words. But I am going to try not to buy books between now and then. I'm going to try to get through my own backlog. Mm-hmm. I have to get rid of these ones that are in the way on my desk. So I have to read them, basically.
And I need to put more on your desk.
No, the desk is where I put ones that I haven't read.
Oh, okay.
The ones that are supposedly next on my TBR.
Right.
Because they're in the way.
Yep. I have to finish Green Creek, and then I think I have 2 other library books. Those are the T.J. Klune
Gay Werewolf books
that I went off on an hour-long tangent about. And then I'm reading the last one now. And then I have 2 library books. One is a translation of The Inferno by Dante Alighieri.
Alighieri?
Because... Is that how you say Alighieri? Anyway.
Yep.
Oh, I learned something.
I took a class on that.
That was Tony's pick for a family book
club.
Club. Yeah.
What translation are you guys using?
We didn't collectively agree on a translation.
What?
I know. I sat down.
The chaos!
And found a translation by a woman.
Oh, that's fine.
And I said, and this is the one I'm going to read.
Okay.
So I got that. It's relatively recent, too, so I'm interested to
cool.
see what she did with it.
I wonder if she was writing the Emily Wilson
wave.
wave.
I think it's a little bit older than that.
A translation I read in college wasn't by a woman, but it was a really cool...
Do you remember who it was?
I don't. I could probably find the name somewhere.
Idiot and just searched for The Inferno on Goodreads. And, like that'll...
Wow, you didn't even just Google it. You went to the most... Not speculative.
Getting a lot of erotica.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Inferno.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's unfortunate. But yeah, the translation we used in college was really cool because like on the left-hand pages was all the Italian. And on the right-hand page was all the English. I really enjoyed that.
So I got frustrated because I know that at least at one point I had a copy of The Inferno that was a Barnes & Noble release. And it was beautiful and had the rough edges, but the thing I loved most about it was it had a whole ton of footnotes that explained everything.
That would be so cool.
And it was awesome. And I went home and I searched through all of my boxes of books. And I don't know if you understand what an undertaking that was.
I can imagine.
So many boxes of books. Could not find it.
That's really frustrating.
So now I'm like, but I have another copy of The Whole Divine Comedy, which is a 1-volume thing. But I feel like I never would have gotten rid of that. Knowing all the notes were, I don't know.
I do know that's the one sellback of college textbooks that I regret the most. I should have just kept it.
Yeah, there are a lot of college textbooks that I should have just... Problem is I did the renting thing.
Oh. No, I bought them. And I was like, I will never read this ever again. And definitely regret it. I don't regret selling back all the Shakespeare books, though. That was, even though I got like $8 for a dozen of them or something.
Oh, it's illustrated, too.
What?
But it's not coming up in Goodreads.
Goodreads is...
Stupid?
Yes. Not great for finding classics, is what I was going to say.
Oh. Different versions of classics.
Yeah.
There's so many of them.
It's a nightmare.
This translation is from...
When I was looking for a translation of the Euripides play, I went to Twitter. Because I follow multiple classics accounts, but one of them is just like tweeting regular pop culture stuff in Latin. And I tweeted at them and I was like, I need help. Which translation should I be looking at? And within like an hour, I had like 12 different people being like, this one, no, that one, definitely use this one. Oh, I teach this one all the time. I was like, yes, Twitter, thank you.
I literally like just went down the list of translators and found like the one woman. And I was like, okay.
Okay, that makes it easy.
From 2013.
Huh.
And
yeah, that's pre-Emily Wilson. Emily Wilson is the only known female translator of the Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't read the whole thing. I got as far as the preface. I've read the preface like 3 times because it's amazing. But reading the Odyssey is still an undertaking, even if it is an exciting new translation.
You might call it an Odyssey.
I did not, very deliberately. But I did leave that low-hanging fruit for you.
Thank you! I love low-hanging fruit. And then what's my other library book? Oh, The Light-Bottomed World, which I got kind of randomly. You know how my mom and I are doing this cook around the world thing? At one point I was also like, what if I also read around the world and picked books by authors from different countries? Which lasted as far as Bahamas. Because it's very hard to find...
Oh, you were going in alphabetical order.
Yes, like 1A, 1B, 1C, and then circle back around. That's how we're doing the food thing.
Maybe we should explain the food thing briefly.
My mom and I are cooking recipes nominally from all the countries around the world, starting with A, B, C, like one from A, one from B, one from C. Right now we're about to do Namibia.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. We just did Madagascar.
Ooh.
And before that was Laos. So we pick it if we are free on a weekend to like plan this out. It involves a lot of donuts.
A lot of fried
donut-adjacent recipes. Because it seems like either the internet just loves ascribing different donut recipes to different countries willy-nilly, or every country just has their version of drop
fried dough.
A dough into an oil and eat the delicious warm goodness that comes out.
Delicious, universally.
Yes, it's incredible. So I was like, hey, I'll do this with authors. And again, very difficult to find.
Of work.
That and like, a part of it was I wanted it to, I was trying to stay within specfic.
Oh.
Which really...
Yeah, that really limits
And then,
it.
like, in the U.S., it's really hard to find.
Yeah, any
books,
translations, yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't get very far.
If you're looking... I think Ken Liu, Liu, does... I think that's him. Who does really good translations of Chinese speculative authors. I'm sure you got at least that far in your search.
No, I got to...
No?
Well, I got to Bahamas. The B.
Oh, right, and you... think rules are not guidelines.
So, oh, yeah.
So you would quit at B.
I did Afghanistan. I did Bahamas and got tired looking for Bahaman authors and books. So
what about Bolivia? You could have read
I could still try to do it. But I didn't want to like just give up on a country just because I was just gonna sit down and try
the American
harder.
Publishing market is real shit.
So I was just gonna try harder to do more research and then just haven't. So this is
fair.
The Light at the Bottom of the World by London Shaw. My understanding is that they are a British author, but they're Afghani.
B.
Huh?
British. Bahamas. B. You could read a British book. You
But
can't find
not...
the Bahamas. I know that's completely besides the point. Completely negates.
If I pick any beat, but we're going in alphabetical order within the letters too.
Oh. Jesus.
Because otherwise we'll lose track. It's easier to just do. Anyway.
It's easier to go in alphabetical order. That's adorable. It's so organized and adorable.
So I got as far as getting that from the library. So those are my 2 library books. And then I get to do the Smack Shelf.
Woo!
Woo! 2022.
They're good goals.
The year of indulgence.
And rereads.
I'm
gonna reread all my favorite books. Can't think of anything other than The Woodwife right now.
I don't even know where I'd start. Ooh, yeah. Whittling.
My bad.
I could be wrong. I just threw my pitch out there.
I caught it. But yeah, I mean, like, at the time, I said to you, this is going to be the year of indulgences and rereads. I had a very specific reread in mind, and I don't know what it was anymore.
Oh, it wasn't The Woodwife?
No, it was like something fun that I would never normally be like, oh, I read that. I should read it again because I loved it.
Was it The Ruthless Lady's Guide to...
No, it was not. Doesn't matter.
That was the C.M. Wagner book we mentioned.
Yes.
The Ruthless Lady's Guide to
Wizardry. Which is a delightful story. Maybe I will reread that one.
I have been wanting to reread the Black Jewels trilogy by Anne Bishop because I got that poor friend.
No, you don't. Just let that live in your memory. I'm serious. Don't do it. It's painful.
I have a feeling it won't be as painful for me as it is for you.
Because you have nice memories about it. Hopefully.
Maybe.
It's, I have some problems with that series.
I'm sure.
I'm
not saying it's problem free.
Not at
For
all.
sure.
But I
loved
should
it so
have
much.
read it when you first recommended it to me in 2008. Instead of waiting 10 years.
Ooh, you read that in 18?
Something like that. It
Ooh,
was
yeah.
maybe not 18, but like 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Many years after you first were like, you should read these books. And it was painful. I did read them though.
I'm sorry.
You're welcome. It's okay. That was before
You didn't have to.
I know, I didn't. That was before I was like, nope, DNFing, bad books.
Oh.
That was back when I read every page of
Maybe that's
every
just like
book.
Dresden Files and we just agree to disagree.
I hope so.
And I go la la.
I hope you do
la,
reread it and you
la,
enjoy it.
la.
I do. But oh my god, it was so painful. Shouldn't have been. It should have been awesome. It's like a matriarchal world with magic. And yet, it's okay. Should we round this out?
Probably.
So
So here's hoping you have a year full of indulgences and rereads.
and rereads, yeah.
This has been another episode of Infinite TBR. You can find us on our Twitter at Infinite TBR.
And we are individually on Twitter as @WhatSmackSaid and @Gabalodon, which is like Megalodon, but Gab in the front of it. And you can find all our show notes at infiniteTBR.com. If you have book recommendations for us or questions you want answered during the podcast, feel free to email us at itbrshelf@gmail.com.